Hello, welcome to CLEA'S World. I am Clea, and today I would like to do something a little different. After 9 sessions of BQH, Beyond Quantum Healing, and QHHT hypnosis, I realized that we have received several hundred pages worth of information from the 25th dimension. So I wanted to do a succinct analysis of this information and compare it to what we hear in the New Age spirituality online community at large. We're generalizing, of course, everybody has a different take on these things. And you know, we don't really have facts that support one view or the other. Some of us will be more drawn to one thing, and some of us will be more drawn to the other. But if you have been following this channel, you know the 25th says things that are different from what is generally available out there. And so I figured that I would do like a little summary of all this information. So I prepared a chart, a table that it's several pages long. It's probably 5 or 6 pages long of bullet points, basically. They're very different among the two perspectives. And I thought I would share with you some of these points, and the rest I will make available. So check the link below in the description box. I will make available for you for free, so that that might help you see where the differences lie and see how you feel about each perspective. It's perfectly fine. There is no right and wrong. Different people prefer. They have a different life view. We all have different view of the world, and different people prefer to believe in different things. The reason I eventually connected to 25th is because a lot of the information that I was getting out there didn't really cut it for me. And I will tell you why as I move forward. But again, that's just my personal opinion, obviously. So let's start from the very first tenet that underlines the whole concept of New Age spirituality, which is that some are more evolved than others. So this is based on a belief in separation, that the belief in separation is what creates this reality and keeps this reality alive. And the 25th dimension has told us instead that we are all one. So this is a belief in unity. Why am I starting with this? And where am I getting this idea that some of us are better than others is an idea of separation? Because no matter how many people speak about, yes, we're of the light, and we love everybody, we're only love and light, and that's the only way to be, it still boils down to the fact that some are not as light as us, are not as good as us, are not as worthy as us, and they're just not behaving the way we would wish them to behave. And so this, again, is a basic tenet, which is we are not one. Even though some people will say that, but truly when they explain how we show up basically in this world, in this reality, compared to other people, you can definitely sense, if it's not outright spelled out, the separation. And the 25th has told us again and again that we are all one. There is no difference between us. We pretend to be separate here this entire game because we are in a game that we have created from the 25th dimension to entertain ourselves, because we were bored, because in the 25th dimension we have to deal with eternity, which can get quite boring after a while. And so we created this game, and which includes this planet, but really includes the entire multiverse. And in this game, we pretend to be separate when in reality we are energy, and energy is indivisible. The next point is that each one of us has a soul, whereas the 25th has told us that we are essence. Now, why does this matter? This might seem like a minor point, but even when we speak of soul, soul has an individual connotation to it. Soul is something that each one of us has. So again, you see coming up on the idea of separation. We are individual units, whereas the 25th speaks of essence. So the idea is that we are essence, like air. Air is indivisible. The 25th has always told us that we are like air in the 25th. And again, the idea of unity is being underlined. We incarnate into different bodies as part of the game so that we can believe in this reality of separation. This is all set up, obviously, for our entertainment, but There's no real separation. All right, next point. There is an eternal battle between light and dark. Since we're on the side of the light, we are the good guys, and the dark is bad. And when the sleepers finally wake up and raise their vibration, the dark will get what it's coming to it. So I will read what a summary of what the 25th says about this, and then I will explain it further, because a lot of this we might be able to witness in real life and be like, of course, there's battle between light and dark. I mean, all the movies tell us this. All reality tells us this. I mean, I'm good. I do good things, but look at that guy, right? And so the 25th says in response to this, we are one. The us versus them separation game we play is for fun and to maintain this low vibration reality. Now, when the 25th says low vibration, it does not mean low as in negative. It means low as in opposite of high. So as in slow versus fast, okay? Slow energy versus quicker energy, faster energy. Lower frequency versus higher frequency. The 25th is never judgmental, even when it comes to different vibrational levels. And when they say reality, reality is quote unquote, because again, this reality is a holographic reality, so it's really part of the game. It's a game board that we're on, and the entire matrix, which includes the entire multiverse, not just this planet, as we're often told, also includes the, it's based on the fact that we have holographically created this multiverse so that we could play this game, entertain ourselves, really distract ourselves, because we were born in 25th. This is something that that we think we can see with our own eyes, so it's very easy to believe it, that there is us versus them, because this is my kitty crashing the video right on time. And of course, it makes sense. It makes distinctive sense to many of us at this level of awareness, because as part of the game, we are brilliant. We set this up brilliantly, and we do want to believe in this game. So at the same time, though, it's interesting because we all feel each other, and we know there's something very often, especially if you are a spiritual person, very often you realize that not only we feel other people, because again, energy is indivisible. We can pretend all day long we're not affecting other people, not feeling, not being affected by other people, but we are. But also the fact of where do I draw the line? So I am right, I am light, I am good. And but then even another person who also thinks that she's light, she's good, and whatever, maybe we disagree on something. So who's light and who's not light? It becomes very tough to sustain this conviction once you start really looking into it. This is one of the reasons why, because again, no criticism for anybody who espouses these ideas. I grew through these, meaning that when it came to my time came for me to quote unquote awaken, I went through all of this. This is why I'm aware of these concepts, and not only I'm grateful for the people who put these out there because they've helped me on my path, but also there is a reason we want to believe these things. So even at a spiritual level, we are really continuing the pretense of the game, so that we don't really have to know what's going on behind the scenes. And the 25th really does want us to know what's going on behind the scenes, because some of us, and if you're watching this channel, that includes you, some of us have wanted to know this. Some of us have basically wanted to awaken to the degree that, and not because we're better than anybody else, but to a degree to where we really wanted to know, we wanted to remember the 25th. We wanted to remember this is the game. So that's all it is. The 25th has given us this information for this reason. So let's go to another concept from New Age spirituality. Light is good, dark is bad. People of the light are good and people of the dark are bad. There is a pretty clear difference among these two groups based on what they do. The 25th response to this is there is no judgment. Different essences want different experiences. This is just a game. We are everything. Each essence is light and dark inside. The dark is simply a manifestation of what we resist and want to isolate by only allowing ourselves to be of the light. Now, this is an important point that the 25th makes, because all of us, each one of us, and let's assume for a second that there is each one of us, okay? Because again, there is no individuality. We are one. But let's look at it from a 3D perspective. Each one of us is capable of anything. We are not only capable, even the people that want to work so hard at being only love and light, we all have high vibration, low vibration. We have days when we feel differently. We're not always love and light. And we're not supposed to only be love and light, because the fact is that we are everything. We have everything inside of us. If one of us on planet Earth, I'm not even going to talk about the aliens, if any one of us is capable of something, we are all capable of it. And it means that we're all capable of everything. This is because we are infinite beings and we are everything. We are not just limited to one frequency, which is ideally in the eyes of the people who espouse the fact that we are good, is that we're only love and light. So we're only a certain frequency. Even in order to create this reality we're in, we've had to use very low, as in slow, and low as in opposite of high, not low as in negative. We've had to use very low vibration in order to create a 3D planet like the one we have right now. We have to use low vibrational energy because of the nature of it, because of the, from a 3D perspective, materiality of it. And no materiality is in concrete that we can touch, because obviously there are planets that are in higher consciousness levels that you can also touch their concrete, like the Pleiades or Andromeda, whatever it is. Material is in the way that reality propagates here, the way the reality plays out is very dense and slow energy. So in order to maintain this reality going, because this is a game board with very strict rules, just like every other game board, we have to use a certain type of energy. You create different things with the appropriate type of energy. In this case, we've had to use low vibrational energy. So we have given low vibrational energy a very bad name, because now we associate it with negative energy, but that's not always the case. So all of us have participated and are participating every day in maintaining this reality by using low vibrational energy. And I will give you an example. The 25th always talks about the fact that everything is a code. So for example, a very big code in our reality that allows us to maintain this reality is food. A lot of food is very low vibrational energy to it, but it's a code that allows us to achieve our purpose, which is to keep believing and to maintain this reality the way that we see it. All right, so I'm going to keep going here. Otherwise, I could talk at length for hours about each one of these points, but this is just an overview, and I will link below the entire document here because I think it really helps in seeing in written form how, what the discrepancies are between one perspective and the other. All right, a classic one from the New Age community is that New Earth is in 5D. I think that comes more on the fact it's tied, I believe, in fact, I know actually, it's tied to the fact that we here like to think in hierarchical terms. So we believe it's almost like black and white. We like things to be very simple, very structured. And this is true of the entire matrix, but for us, it's obvious what's happening on Earth. Even as children, we're taught hierarchy. You go from first grade to second grade, third grade, blah, blah, blah. And it means certain things. It's same with dimensions. We believe that because we're in 3D dimension, so we're in a third dimensionality, or a third dimensionality planet, which really is not the planet, it's the reality we have created here, the way that our reality works, because our planet is no different in many ways from many other planets. So it's really how we set up the game here. That is 3D. So because we're in 3D, most of us are in 3D, especially what we refer to as the sleepers, with some kind of condescending tone, because it means they're not awake like we are. And so maybe some of us move to 4D, which is already hard to do, but we're all aspiring. Some of us have done this, but it's a very small minority, but we're all aspiring to everybody moving to 5D, because in this case, remember, we're a collective, so we have to move together to 5D. If we don't all move to 5D, then nobody's going to be able to move to 5D physically, to a 5D reality physically. That's why we think of New Earth as being a 5D planet. The fact is, the 25th has told us New Earth is a 7D planet. And the reason they told us it's a 7D planet is because the 25th has explained the dimensions don't really matter. They don't mean anything. So even this hierarchical way of looking at things within the matrix is not just a thing we do on planet Earth. It's a thing aliens do as well. It's really just part of the game. It's not real. It's not true. In fact, on the Earth, even though it's only 7D compared to other planets that might be higher consciousness, the Earth is going to be the only planet within the multiverse that will have a consciousness level that's close to that of the 25th. So basically that is to show us that the dimensional level of the planet has nothing to do with the consciousness level of people there. So we think in hierarchical terms, but it doesn't really work that way. Related to this is the fact that in New Age spirituality, we hear a lot of people say the New Earth is a state of consciousness. Anyone can go there by raising their consciousness to 5D or above. Whereas the 25th tells us that New Earth is an actual new planet, and everyone can go there as long as they want to and have aligned themselves with it by being 4D and above. A couple of things here. One is we have to move as a collective, and so it is a matter of everybody reaching that level of consciousness to then. It's a little contradictory because sometimes they say there's New Earth and we all have to get there, or in order for us to get there, everybody has to raise their consciousness. And sometimes they're like, you can already be on New Earth now while we're here. These concepts don't really resonate with me, even before I connected with the 25th and I got the explanation from them for how things work. And again, you can believe or not believe this, it's totally fine. But the reason these concepts does not resonate with me is because one, it violates free will. We are assuming here that New Earth, that everybody wants to go to New Earth and that New Earth is better for everybody. And not only, but now I am ready. Apparently I have raised my consciousness. I've done all this work, but all of a sudden I have to wait for the last person on the planet to raise their consciousnness as well so I can move. See, this does not really resonate with me. This reminds me just of the way we do things in 3D. For example, in school, I still remember this even from grade school, where the people at the front of the class always had to wait for the people at the back of the class to catch up. It's not right. There was a public school system. I mean, I think many of you can recognize that. It's all messed up, this concept. The people in the back of the class, maybe they just weren't interested. Why should we force stuff down their throats? And the people at the front of the class, why are we waiting for people who are not interested when we would like to move forward and because we are interested? It's always the idea of now one size fits all. It doesn't work that way. What is good for me does not mean it's good for you and vice versa. I think we recognize this in a conceptual way, at a very basic level of understanding. But then when it comes to these concepts, somehow we go right back to our 3D way of thinking. So again, we're saying anyone can go to New Earth by raising their consciousness to 5D and above, because that's the threshold. Whereas the 25th tells us that 4D and above is enough because it's a matter of choice of the essence. So every essence can choose whatever they want. In fact, not everybody has chosen to go to New Earth. New Earth is just another planet. And so the essence is free. It can choose whatever it wants. All right, so related to this, we need everyone to raise their consciousness for us to be able to manifest New Earth on this planet. So now New Earth is on this planet, and we need everybody to be at the same level of consciousness to manifest it, which also implies that raising our consciousness is the ultimate good, because that's where we want to go, and therefore everybody wants to go there. 25th tells us there is no intrinsic value in raising our consciousness. All essences have made choices about the experience they want to have and have aligned themselves with that choice. In other words, when we assume that we must raise our consciousness, we are judging from our point of view without thinking of the experience that other essences might want to have. The goal of coming into this game is to entertain ourselves. That means that everybody wants to try different things. So there is no better or worse experience. Each experience has equal value. So while it is very true that we see a lot of things on this planet that really are not fun and should have never happened, at the same time, it's because we have available to us a lot of low vibrational choices that really are only available because the polarity on this planet has been unbalanced towards the dark for a long time. But this was also a mistake. It's not that we wanted that. In our quest for trying out different things, we separated ourselves into two teams, the light and the dark, equal teams. These are our friends. We are all one. And we were all supposed to carry our own weight and move forward and keep this game fun. But the dark got ahead very, very quickly. And in truth, the light just didn't keep up with the dark. And that's why we have extreme polarity on this planet, which shows up in a lot of things that we consider negative and that are absolutely negative. Nobody really wanted the game to turn out this way, and we have a solution in store for this. But the bottom line is that the choice of the essence is every essence is doing certain things, aligning themselves with what they want to experience, because that's what the essence wants to try. It not because it is evil, but because it believes that that experience has value. And truthfully, at the collective level, every experience has value. This is how we learn. This is how we figure out how things feel and how things are. So one more point. So the idea that to improve ourselves, to raise our consciousness, which again is the ultimate good, we must do work. We must do work on ourselves, like meditating and shadow work, for example. So the 25th response to this particular point is that all experiences have equal value. There is no judgment for ourselves or others. We are all ascended masters, and there is nothing for us to learn. We don't have to improve ourselves. We are here to have fun and experience things. So I want to specify here when it says there is nothing for us to learn, and I said that we are here to learn things. When I say learn, I mean as in we're here to try different things. It's like I tried painting because I want to learn, do I like painting or do I not like painting? I want to try skydiving because I want to learn if I like that experience or not. That's what I mean by learning, by exploring. Whereas in the New Age spirituality, the idea of learning is tied to the fact that we as souls, we go through these experiences in order to learn what is good and bad so that we can then adjust and we can improve ourselves. The bottom line is that somehow we're not complete. We're always evolving. We don't have to evolve. The 25th tells us we are ascended masters. There is nothing for us to do or get better about. We already know everything. We created the soul game. So for us, it's just a matter of you get in a game and you want to try. Okay, it's like a game board. Okay, do I want to go left? Do I want to go right? What happens if I go right? That's what it means when we say we want to experience things. It's not a matter of making ourselves better. I'm going to check the time here because I don't want this to get too long. If I don't get to where I want to get to, because I do want to bring up a few points, not all of it again, it's several pages worth, but I do want to finish a few points here. If I don't get to it, then I might just split this into two parts. So related to the concept we just described, the idea is that from the New Age spirituality is that we must be all love and light to be good. And again, the 25th tells us that we are everything, not only love and light, good and bad are game board terms. So from an essence's perspective, trying something that we at a 3D level might consider bad is just an experience. Maybe you do want to feel like what it feels like to cheat on somebody, because at the end of the day, this person is you. Really, at the end of the day, there are no victims. Everybody's just playing. No, there are things that we find very unpleasant and very painful on this planet. There is no doubt about it. This is not to say it's all a bed of roses here, but it is to say that at the end of the day, as Essence says, we are just playing with our brothers and sisters, and even better, it's really us, or it's all us. It's all one. So at the end of the day, you can't really do, it's almost like you're hurting your left arm. You will never hurt your left arm because it is your left arm. And so that's what they want us to focus on, to remember. Let's go to another concept from New Age spirituality, which says that we must wake up. People who are awake are special. Sleepers are a problem as they're holding us back from the golden age. Now, they don't say this outright, but not in so many words, but the message is very clear. We are here, and the reason we are stuck, we're not on the earth yet, is because, again, we're waiting for the sleepers. Already the term sleeper seems very judgmental. Now, the 25th tells us instead that awakening is just another game within the matrix. There is no special value in awakening. Every experience has equal value. So the people that we call the sleepers, for example, who don't want to know, for example, about spirituality, who don't want to know that your vibration makes a difference, who don't want, for example, to take responsibility on paper for what they're doing. They want to be oblivious to everything. For example, they might want to trust the government to take care of them or whatever it is. These people are ascended masters, just like we are. And so they've made a choice to show up in a certain way. It's not that they can't figure it out. I'll give you an example. I was never really asleep the way that we consider being asleep in terms of 3D reality. I always knew things were not as we were told, and I did not trust institutions just because I was told to trust institutions. But from a spiritual perspective, I was an atheist for a very long time, which is funny because it came on the back of having a lot of spiritual gifts until I was a teenager. And then I consciously shut them down one at a time to become an atheist. And this is because I aligned myself. I wanted to be here fully. And for 3 decades, I was an atheist and I had a blast. In fact, the 25th has talked about this, saying that some of the people who are having the most fun here are the ones that are playing the atheist game. Why? Because it's the complete opposite of what we know to be real and true, which is not only there is a God, but we are part of God. We're part of Source. We're made from Source. So we are one. So how much more fun can you have than to pretend, oh, there's no God. This is all real. But that's the point. We came here to believe this is real. So that's like the ultimate belief that all that matters is, stuff that you can touch. Here, my hand is real. There's nothing else. This life, it's nature. We don't even know how it gets created. And we don't even know what life is because, of course, there is no soul, no nothing. So it's really fun. And so there is no judgment. These people, again, are us. I mean, in this case, it was me. And here I am instead talking about the 25th. So it's an alignment. It's an experience that the essence wants to have. There is no judgment. The sleepers don't have to awaken. Awakening, it's just another game, another experience that a specific essence wants to have. That's all, no more, no less. And here we get to one of the sacred cows of the New Age spirituality movement that says that we are ascending. The 25th says there is no ascension. This is a matrix idea based on the premise that higher dimensions are higher consciousness, which is another layer in the separation and judgment game. In other words, we're ascended masters already. We don't have to ascend. We don't have to improve ourselves. In fact, you can come back in the next life, say that you're a light worker now. You can come back in the next incarnation and be on the team of the dark if you want to. You're not less. You're not less than you are now. In fact, many of us have done in what we believe to be past lives. There are no past lives. Everything happens in the now. But if you want to think of it in terms of time, which is a construct, time is an idea that we created within the matrix. But if you want to think of it in those terms, we've had past lives. We have not always been like we are now and judge as good now in all our past lives. Imagine having lived 100 lives. You've had some dark lives if you lived 100 lives, which doesn't mean you had to be on the team of the dark, but we've all done inevitably. I mean, this has been a very dense reality. We've all inevitably done things that we might, with our consciousness of now, judge as being less than acceptable. This is absolutely normal and expected. So what does it mean? Does it mean that we were bad and now we are good? Do you see, when you start breaking it down, things don't really mesh. It doesn't really go together. There's a lot of contradiction. This is one of the reasons I think that I have found the 25th is because I had a lot of questions, things didn't make sense. And this reminds me, and I will stop this video here because I think it's getting a little bit too long. This reminds me of something that happened historically within the Catholic religion, the Christian religion, where I believe it was the Council of Nicaea, which happened in the year 500, I forgot. And it's when they changed the concept of reincarnation. So the early Christians believed in reincarnation. And then they decided at an institutional level, the religious institution, the church, decided that they weren't going to allow the believers to believe in this anymore. They were just going to remove it. It was no longer an accepted tenet. And the reason was that people started asking questions and asked, well, if there is an incarnation, how do I know? You're telling me the Muslims are bad, but what happens when I reincarnate? If I reincarnate as a Muslim, am I bad? And so they just removed the concept of reincarnation. We all now pretend that this is it. Religion, which is supposed to be a spiritual thing, tells you that this is it. This is your life. And then you go to heaven and you're done. or hell, or wherever you deserve to go based on your choices, that we have very clear rules of what those choices mean. And this is what happens. We start asking questions and then stuff starts falling apart. This is one thing I've always appreciated from 25th. They've always been very consistent. And they've always been very compassionate and full of understanding, and telling us that all we're doing is playing, and there is no right and wrong in terms that we consider to be right and wrong with our present consciousness. Again, we ourselves might have not thought this 50 years ago, 100 years ago, in 20 incarnations ago, but we now think we hold the truth on the ultimate right and wrong. All these tenets are very much a matrix idea, to where we do like to believe that we are on the side of one team or the other. And again, it's because of the game we set up, which is generally a lot of fun. It has not been so much fun on this planet in the last probably 67 years or so. But we have a solution for this, so we're going to deal with it. I hope you enjoyed this. I am going to do a second part to maybe explain some more of these concepts. But again, I will put the entire document below, linked below, for free. So you just click and you'll see how to download it. It'll be pretty straightforward. And I hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions or any feedback, please let me know in the comments below, because I read them all and I'm really curious to see what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.